much for coming on today.
Of course.
I was just giving a little brief intro about you, but I thought maybe it'd be best for you to tell us a bit about yourself and give us a little bit of a short intro.
Yeah. I'm not sure what you've said so far, but as far as I am on Instagram, I'm a sustainable content creator here. I'm based in the San Francisco Bay Area. I love
Yeah.
thrifting. I care a lot about intersectional environmentalism, but I'm also getting my PhD in political philosophy. And so that has a lot of connections for me about why I care so much about ethics and discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah, I did mention that you're a thrift queen and always sharing styling hacks and your thrift finds and really encouraging the community to, shop at those local thrift stores and everything. And so, yeah, I also saw on your page, in your link in bio, that you have a link to the organization, which is the Sagori Lands Trust. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you tell us a bit about that?
So I think it's really important to acknowledge like the indigenous people whose land you're on. And so I'm on the Ohlone people's land. And
Yeah.
this is the trust that's run by indigenous women from that tribe, that people. And so really what it is, it's about like land rematriation. And so the link that I have in my bio is to the Shumi land tax, which is just, Shumi means gift in their language. And so it's all just about offering that as almost a tax, like in a way, that same way you would to like your local state and things like that, but just for the purposes of rematriation. And so there's already been some land that's been rematriated for indigenous purposes here. So doing like ceremonial land for the Ohlone people, but also some of its gardening projects, and so to keep that connection, that ancestral connection to the land, like thriving and just supporting it. I just think it's really important, especially as we're looking into conversations of sustainability, to acknowledge that the big roots of that are indigenous people. And in Australia as well, of like what it means to, really be connected to those indigenous origins. So I just like.
We have a similar organization, Pay the Rent. So I think it's great, and it's great that also like you're able to share that to people and be a voice.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's the least I can do.
Yeah. And I also saw on one of your lives recently that you talk about buying a coffee, or about
so they rolled out this feature, I guess it must have been like 3 months ago, with like and so sometimes there was these things where you could get bonuses for going live with badges. And so I was doing that, and I thought one really great way to have it be more of like a community oriented thing, because I feel very supported by my community by being able to do paid projects, is really that if people want to support one another, and like we can just have a community coffee fund. And so I keep an eye out on my stories if I notice like a mutual is having like a really rough day, and redistribute it. So that's something that I have been working on.
Oh, that's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. I have to have a look into those badges more, about how they work, but that's a really great way to support the community.
Yeah, it's just something small, but I know that a lot of people, I don't know, people like just giving to each other, especially when they're, see that someone's in need. My little dog keeps like coming here. Let's see.
Oh, cute. Is it a boy, girl?
He's a boy. He just likes to be.
What's his name?
Percy.
Oh, cute.
He likes me lives. He's like, who are you talking
to? So the next thing I wanted to ask you about thrifting.
Yeah, of course.
So when was the last time you went thrifting?
So I hadn't been in a while, and then I hadn't been in maybe like, I don't know, over a month. But then last week I went like 3 times. So I went.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, because I was working on this project. I'm sure you saw my stories with a friend, and so she came into town, and so I was like thrifting some things for that project, because it was kind of an upcycling project. So materials for that. And then we also went to an estate sale, which I love going to estate sales. So yeah, I did that. And so I feel like I'm thrifted out for a little bit. I'm like, I need to not for a while. Yeah.
I guess that kind of brings me to my next question. Do you often buy pieces at thrift stores to upcycle?
I don't do it often just because I don't necessarily want to add more to my to-do list. And like it ends up being just like a project pile.
Yeah,
I stuff that I'm like, oh, okay, I would like this if it was a different length. So if it's like a quick hem or something like that, I can do. But honestly, I really love supporting people. Like I feel like there's so many creative people who do upcycling projects. Like I don't know if you've seen like Rita Jeans. I've like been with them in the past. They have like really great ways that they upcycle denim. Uh,
yeah,
People in my area too who do more stuff with denim or jewelry, and so I just kind of almost like want to just every time I like think about upcycling, I'm like, oh, I could probably buy it from a small creator who's doing that work already and support them, rather than doing it myself. So the short answer is not really, but sometimes it ends up that way. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. There are a lot of upcycling brands at the moment. Stuff, people doing great stuff.
So cool. People are so talented.
Um, and when you're purchasing an item from a thrift store, what's your top three things that you consider when you want to buy that item?
Yeah. So for me, I guess the first thing is like just overall construction of the piece. Like, is it a piece that I could see lasting for like at least like 5 to 10 years? So for me, that
Yeah,
means stitch work and looking like at um, just like most of the stitch work and the construction and the material. But that's like the second one is like I usually just buy natural fibers, with the
yeah,
like a nice like vintage print from like the 70s or 80s. Then I'll make an
yeah,
exception just because mind in like natural fibers. And then I guess the third thing would be like color, because I'm always looking to add in like unique colors. So I try not to get something that's a duplicate, something I could even, um, yeah, that I already have in my wardrobe. Like really, but I really do pay attention to quality pieces. I think with thrifting, it can be really easy to just treat it as like fast fashion again, and just like
yeah,
things in your wardrobe that aren't going to last you that you just end up like putting back in the landfill anyway. And so
yeah,
it as mindfully as possible by thinking of things that I'll like want to save forever or pass on to family or something.
yeah, yeah. And for people um, who want to start thrift, going to thrift stores, we call them op shops in Australia. So people who, yeah, people in Australia or even in America, anywhere, if they want to start purchasing more from thrift stores, is there any advice that you can give them?
I would say like really think about like what your ideal pieces are and like really like make I have a thrift list usually like of things that I'm looking for in a season to like fill gaps in my wardrobe, and I'll be like as specific as possible. Like I want it to be like this shape, I want it to be this material or like this pattern. And I think that
Yeah,
really like one to go in with like a sense of a vision rather than just getting like pieces like
yeah,
um but also it just makes my experience there a lot easier too because like I know what I'm looking for.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The thing is that yeah, it helps me not to settle. And so like a lot of the times like you will get something that's like almost good, but really you could probably find what you want if you just waited a little longer. So like there's sometimes like there's a piece that's on my list for months and months. And so I think like just
Yeah,
treating pursuing it slowly and just trying to be mindful about the whole thing, and then you're often
yeah,
just release quality pieces. So I think just
yeah,
going in mind and creative mind, but also yeah, just carefulness too.
yeah, yeah. I think that's a good idea. I know sometimes um, you can also, just because things are cheap or something, you don't want to be just purchasing it because of that, you
Yeah,
know.
that's how I was like I think in college. Like when I first started through no, I'd always been going to like secondhand shops and resale shops and stuff, but when I
Yeah,
first friends, I think it was easy maybe the first few times to get like too much stuff and like yeah, so I really started to think about what it meant to do it thoughtfully. But yeah, I think a thrift list and really curating a vision board of what you want your closet to be like is really helpful. Yeah.
yeah. What's been on your thrift list recently? Is there anything you've been looking for?
So I just had some luck because I was looking for a really big, like, or not like super big, but just a slightly oversized white button up, like high quality, like a nice thick cotton that was vintage. And I
Yeah,
did recent times. So that was on it. I've been looking a lot for like really pretty silk scarves. Uh,
yeah,
Where is he? That, because I think those are really hard to find, like the really high quality ones.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think.
You can do so much with the silk scarves as well. You can wear as a top, put them on your handbags, a headband. Like, yeah, they're very versatile.
My friend Gabby, who like I'm always I feel like tethered to on this platform because we both post a lot, but she did a really like all of the different ways to tie a scarf top, and it's so inspiring. I'm like, wow, I can't. I don't know. I feel like I'm not very good at crafty things sometimes, but yeah. So I feel like some silk scarves, and then also very much like fun patterns. Like I feel like really unique is, and especially dresses. I find that I wear like when I was like taking an inventory, what are the things I wear most in my wardrobe that I've thrifted? A lot of them are like really high quality, like midi length dresses because I layer them underneath or on top, and so that's also something that I'm still like looking to collect.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And for those who joined in, I'm just interviewing Chloe from America. I love your style. I mean, you use so much color and print, which I mean, people who know Hugh, we're all about color and print. Um, and I love that you're not shy of mixing lots of color and then also mixing oversized pieces with fitted pieces and really mixing it up. So I guess in terms of your styling hacks, or what are some tips that you can provide to people when you're styling not just thrifted items but just a lot of different colors and prints together?
Yeah. Well, I think whenever I think I'm pretty picky about what I let into my wardrobe as far as like, oh, will this go with a lot of things? And then I'm
Yeah.
also about what it means to like go with, like you said. So I think as far as like, I guess like it's color mixing for me, I've always just thought about um, like obviously complementary colors, like thinking about what those are. One of my favorite color combinations is cool. And keep these two next to each other, see if I like it, and kind of
Yeah.
make inventory of like what are the pieces that like what do I think it could go with, and so that's always in the
Yeah.
out. So that's something. And then I think with print, like I always just think about I'm fine with doing like one bolder item and then one is a neutral. But then I think of like what my neutral has been has really changed. Of like now I think like, you know, a polka dot or a plaid is like a neutral print in my book. Like not always like the case. And so, but
Yeah.
finding comfortable with like mixing with other things so that whenever I want to add in something more busy, I can do it. I also
Yeah.
think pieces that just like wearing them different ways. Like you can wear a dress as a skirt if you flip it in a different way, or layer it, like I said, underneath or on top. Um, so I feel like just whenever I get a new piece, I like make almost like a mental inventory of all the different ways that I could wear it, so that every time I see it, I'm like, okay, like I could just build off of it as like a base. So yeah, I think for me, I'm like a very much like I always have so much going on in my brain, so lists really help. So I think that
Yeah.
is like I introduce new pieces to just get creative with it. But I think also just finding inspiration on this app. I feel like there's so many people who do such creative things, and sometimes you see like, oh, I really like the way that they put those two like subtle tones together. I haven't
Yeah.
really have pieces like that, so I could try it. And yeah,
Yeah.
always taking inspiration from others too.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I know. I think yeah, definitely there's so much online with Pinterest, Instagram, crazy.
I know
And
I was gonna
yeah,
say
sorry.
Vogue Runway, like you know the app, like or there's like a Vogue Runway app, and so I like look at all the recent collections too and see like how they've been styling different things, and I think that's also a helpful inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, and in terms of I know you really like to support local brands and sustainable brands. Can you give us your favorites at the moment, of small independent labels or even larger brands that are doing sustainable clothing?
Okay, I think so. I'll start with my favorite brand that I'm like always doing things with, and I love them. Backbeat Co.
Yep, I saw this beautiful jumpsuit you got from them.
Yeah, great jumpsuits. But I feel like anytime I get something from them, they like have the nice balance of one. I think it's very California style. So as I've moved out to California, I find myself more attracted to their pieces. But I also just like that everything is kind of like interesting, but very high. So I think that that's really great. So I love what they're doing. I love. I've been recently like on a fun like I love footwear right now. I'm really into like thinking about like fun colored shoes and stuff like that to add in like some like elevated basics to my wardrobe. So I really
Yeah.
Mista. Really love them. Um, I've also been bringing in some like vintage Marimekko pieces too because I really like their prints and styling.
Yeah.
Obviously, like HEW clothing.
Yeah.
Trying to like style the skirt for a while in so many different ways, so I'm preparing a post with that because it's so cute.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
I also like I think I mentioned Rita Jeans. I really love what she's doing, and
Yeah.
then Travel in Gold out of the Bay Area, one of my favorites. They're always like I think pushing the boundaries of like new colors that they're doing. And I just like how every collection is slightly different too. So I can really go on and on, but those are a few that come to mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. Um, I know everyone's there's some great stuff. I saw recently you had this t-shirt from Marimekko where they utilized some vintage prints with the new disconnected. Are you okay?
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yes, the it like had the old prints, but like reimagined in a new way. I love things like that. Like when, because obviously my classic prints and vintage, and so it's been really cool to see how they had, I think, mostly Gen Z designers like repurpose them. And I think it's definitely like quirky, but I like pushing the boundaries of my style in that way too, and bringing it in. And so I really love that shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Oh, thanks. And I guess I guess a good thing to end with would be is there anything that you're working on at the moment you would like to share?
Sometimes I can't. I think like I've been on kind of a hiatus for the summer in a lot of ways of just like I've had a lot going on in my life that I'm really like trying to just focus on and the ways that I've like able to. So I have some like more fun styling videos in the works, like especially about like something I'm really passionate about is like pushing like the boundaries of professionalism and what that looks like, especially as like a Latina in academia as well for me. And so I'm probably going to have some fun little styling videos out soon.
Yeah.
Then I have this really great upcycling project that's coming out for Halloween that you'll all see. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think like those are the two main things. Not too much going on at the moment. So, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, I mean, we'll look out for them. I know Halloween's so big in America, isn't it?
Yeah, I honestly don't relate to it. like, it's never been a big thing in my life. I don't know. And so it was so weird. I'm like, how am I shooting Halloween content in August? America's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least they're fun projects, and I love your styling videos. I think you give such great tips, and for anyone watching, they should head on. You've got some on your IGTV.
Yeah, IGTV, and then also my reels. I've done a couple fun ones too. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, I guess on that note, I'll just will say thank you so much for joining me and coming on. Yeah, I know it's late in the day for you there, right?
Oh, it's actually great. It's like happy hour time
Okay.
with work, so it's good.
Yeah, I guess you're on the West Coast. It's a bit better.
Oh,
So, but yeah, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all those fun tips and hacks about thrifting. And for those who want to know more about you, they can head over to your page.
yeah, of course. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Chloe. Well, have a great evening. Bye. See ya.